VRA fam, welcome to this month's VRA show. Today we have a very special show, as we do every time, but today's really cool because we have somebody that has been in the YouTube game for under 2 years, and in the first year, like a full first year, has made over 100,000 online through YouTube, which is just crazy. The time we live in, where you can make 100K on YouTube in your first year or two. And so, in a minute, I'll bring up Evan from Family at Sea, and he's teaching cruisers how to. I don't know if that maybe that's not what you call them, cruisers. I'm like looking down, Evan. Is that what we call them? Yes, maybe, kinda. Anyways, but people that are looking to get on a cruise or compare cruises, that sort of thing, I'll have him do a better job of explaining exactly what it is, because he's in a very unique niche, and really excited to get into his story. Before we do, did you hear about the mastermind that just happened? We just had a mastermind this past weekend. Today is what, Wednesday, so it was about a week ago, and we have another one coming up. May 7th and 8th, we have the next mastermind. And I'm like looking at the calendar. I'm like, is that in 2 months? Like, is that literally 2 months from basically today? We've got early bird tickets. You can go over to thinkmediamastermind.com. I mean, it was just 2 days that we had. It was surrounded by other content creators, by the Think Media team. We got to do interviews. So I got to interview Dr. Jamie Morgan. I don't know if you've seen her on the Think Media podcast. If you haven't, that's another person who in under a year just had tremendous success. She got to 100,000 subscribers in about 9 months, 10 months. And actually, it might have been less. She's at over 110,000 subs today. And we had her. We were able to bring her on. She brought her silver play button, which was just amazing and awesome. And then we did breakout sessions with creators, and Nathan was giving a lot of sessions, and he also did an interview. And so it's just a really awesome time for you to be in the room with other content creators, people like you, people that speak this kind of same weird language. I think Evan's going to kind of speak to this as well, that nobody really in our circle talks about these things. The Think Media Mastermind and the events that we put on is the perfect place for you to be, surrounded by like-minded people with same goals, big goals, just like you do for your channel. So again, thinkmediamastermind.com, May 7th and May 8th. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on Evan from Family at Sea. And I'm just really excited to just get into your story. I feel like your story is unique in a way because you again, it's like less than 2 years. And so you've had tremendous success. I think, you're a business owner, so you're probably coming at YouTube and these sorts of things as like another business venture, or another way of you thinking about how you apply your business knowledge to a new endeavor. So I'm excited to get into that. But just how are you feeling today? I'm just pumped, man. How are you?
I'm excited to be here. I appreciate y'all having me on. VRA is such an amazing community, and so I'm excited to have a chance to chat and give back, and hopefully I can share some things that'd be helpful for everybody.
Okay, maybe let's start with this, like actually clarifying your niche, because I'm calling them cruisers and all this stuff. I don't know if that's right, but who are you speaking to on your channel? I know you have a few buckets, but who is this ideal person for you?
Yeah, so it's people that are interested in cruise travel, right? So it could be anywhere from somebody that's really focused on, finding the best value, the cheapest prices, first-time cruisers trying to figure out what are the things I don't know to make sure I have the best possible cruise. I do a lot of cruise comparisons, talk a lot about like what are the different upgrade options that are out there, things of that nature. So really, as you guys look at my channel there, you see that there's a few different buckets that my content fits into. When I meet people, it's interesting because when I go about the regular world, like nobody knows who I am, but then I step on a cruise ship and everybody's like, "Oh, you're Evan." Like it's a really weird thing.
Wow.
But it's a really small world in the cruising world, but it's an amazing one. And there's just so many incredible people just like they're here in VRA, and I'm excited to get to do what I do.
That's awesome. So yeah, now I'm already curious. Like, all right, let's get into the kind of the business and like how's this working? But let's go back a step and let's figure out, how did you even get on YouTube? So what brought you onto YouTube, and then specifically what brought you into this niche?
Sure. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have another business, and I'm a bit over a decade into that. And I've been fortunate that as I've grown that, I've kind of worked myself out of a job, and that was always the goal, right? For me, it was never about financials; it was really about freedom. And I got to a place where it's like, okay, this is what I risked everything for, and all the highs and lows. Like I'm there, but now what? And I've got a friend who's another fellow VRA member, Nick from Away Together, and I watched what he built over. At the time, it was 2 years. He's 4 years in now, but and I went to him and said, Nick, look, I've been watching what you've built. I love cruising. I find myself watching all this cruise content. I think I want to take a go at trying this myself. You know, what do you think? And so really it started with an inspiration watching him and just being passionate about cruising. And I don't know, I did what they always tell you not to do, which is making my passion my work. Uh, but I still love it so far. So no regrets.
Awesome. When you decided, okay, I want to go on YouTube, I want to go into this cruising niche, were you approaching it from, yes, I think that I'm ultimately going to monetize it, or was it purely passion? Just for some reason, like I'm good in my life right now and I want to do this, or what was like, did you go any deeper than that surface level? Like, hey, I just want to do a YouTube channel. Did you think through kind of where you would hope to be?
I'm a very goal oriented person. So kind of right from the beginning, I knew that there was a few driving forces behind doing this. If I'm honest, one of them was, you know, I've got young kids. I've got 9-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter, and it's an opportunity. They were, I guess, 7 and 9 when I got started, and it's an opportunity to like preserve memories of them. Everybody else has photo albums. I'm gonna have videos that kind of chronicle them as they grow up. Like, what an awesome opportunity that would be. And two, like my dad passed when I was really young, and I just thought about like how awesome would it be if I had all these videos of him that I could look back on 20, 30 years from now. So it was a little bit of that, but also I knew it was like a business decision, right? Like I'm not, like I said with my other business, I'm not financially motivated, but finances are a byproduct of creating something that people enjoy, or brings them, you bring value to them, and it comes full circle. So I knew that was a piece of it, and certainly that's been a part of it. I would not have dedicated this much of my life to this if there wasn't a payoff on the end. But we've got some big goals, and sure we'll get to those later. But
Yeah.
yeah, business was always a piece of it, but it's always been a blend of passion and business.
That's amazing. Now I'm just thinking, because I know, you maybe in a place that you, like you're saying, I didn't financially need this, but you as an entrepreneur, is this kind of like your entrepreneurial spirit also kind of like, all right, here's a new thing that I need to really figure out, conquer, and make this thing work. So there is the passion, right? But you're also just an entrepreneur, so that's part of your passion as well. Can you maybe talk to that intersection there?
Yeah, so you're 100% right. Like at my heart, I'm 100% an entrepreneur, and that's certainly been a driving force in all of this. And I realized my other business, we're in the sign industry. Not a huge company. There's 13, 14 of us, something like that now. Really amazing people, but y'all, like, with growing a company comes a lot of stress. And I realized, like, man, if I can scale this YouTube thing, I could probably make a living doing this without all the stress that comes with managing a team.
Mhm.
And so it's an opportunity to like kind of take some things and run with them without having to worry about figuring out as much of that. And it's certainly it's definitely at the intersection of my personal values, my family, business. But uh I don't know, I'm not doing a very good job at answering your question, but it's
Yeah, I get it. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, and I feel that, and a lot of us here are kinda like entrepreneurs as well, like, here at
sure.
Think Media, so we're all, I kinda feel the vibe where it's like, yeah, with passion, but I guess what I'm saying is a lot of people, and this was kind of the point of why I was asking this question, is a lot of people start the YouTube channel because it's like, I wanna start a YouTube channel, which is great, but they don't get to that next point, which is like, okay, what does that even mean? Like,
Mm.
even if the channel did great, even if I got my 1,000 subs in a month, or even if I got to 100,000 in a year or less, what does that mean for me and my life and my business? And people, they make this they have this thought, I want to be on YouTube, but there's no clarity as to how that will make sense for them financially. And so that's why for me, it's like really important to clearly define at the beginning of a channel, okay, if this works out, what does that even mean? And in order for this to just go beyond views and subs, what needs to be true on the business side for this thing to work, right? To be a viable business, because that's really what we're trying to teach people that YouTube is. It's just either an extension of your current business and you're going to use it to bring leads and sales, or like for you, this is literally a new business venture that I'm going into, and I'll build a business from YouTube. So that's really the clarity that I'm trying to pass on to the viewer right now, of like how important it is to just be really clear from the beginning. You might not have it all figured out. You might not, think, okay, this eventually will get to 1 million or 500,000. You might not have that, but you understand here are some very realistic paths for me to be able to monetize through YouTube. So that's really what I'm trying to encourage people, because here in VRA we've got people of all different some people starting with 0 subs. We have people starting with 50 subs, 100, 150, 100,000 subs. We have like all sorts of different people, right? But the thing that really what it comes down to is like, what's the vision? And somebody like you has vision from the very beginning. And so that's really what I'm excited about with you, Evan.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had a vision from the beginning. I can tell you, like, vision has never been my problem in life, right? Like, I already know where I'm going. It's just figure out how do you reverse engineer it to get where you are. But if you don't have a vision, if you don't know where it is you're ultimately going, like, how are you possibly going to get there, right? You've got to be able to like engineer what that path looks like. So, I always know, like, I know what my goals are 2 years from now, 10 years from now. I know I can tell you all of them, but ultimately you have to figure out, okay, if this is where I want to get, how do I get there? And so it just starts with, they talk about how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So like, what's the first bite, right? Like, and for me, one of the very first bites was joining VRA, right? Like, but, having an understanding of what does that path look like, what are ultimately the things. I assume if people are a member of VRA, like, you guys you want to turn this into a income source, right? This is something that you want to build a life around, and it's possible, but you definitely got to have a vision to figure out where you're going. And it doesn't matter what your content's about, right? There are paths to monetization, and not just through like ad revenue, right? But like, I'm sure we'll get into some of that later, but like there are paths for all of us. And so I'm constantly looking at like, okay, here's where I am. How do I get to here? And part of that's a little bit of a trap, because, you've got to take, now it's like I look at a video, and like now if I get, a few thousand views on a video and first one, I'm like, man, like that video flopped. But like 6 months, a year ago, whatever, like that would have been, I would have been like, heck yeah, right? That was amazing. And so, you never really take time to find joy in the present. And so I really had to force myself to be very intentional about that. But having that plan to know where you're going and having milestones along the way, if you take the time to say, hey, this is a milestone for me a year and a half ago, like, let me celebrate this for a second, just for a moment before I go on to the next thing. But I've got milestones. I've got, vision. I know exactly where I'm going, and I'm excited. I love what we do, and how lucky are we that we get to do what we do for a living. Like, this
Yeah,
is
it's
incredible.
incredible. It is incredible. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you in a second here how long did it take you to get to your first 1,000 subs and all that sort of stuff. But I'm wondering, like, you're making me think about some conversations I've had with some content creators recently, and like especially people that are business minded. I wonder, like, when you began, how do you set realistic goals for yourself and for your channel? And then, like, how do you set metrics that say, if I'm not here by this date, then like, I need to reconsider or I need to pivot? Do you go that deep, or are you like, I've got the vision and I'm just going to go make it happen? Or do you actually have some numbers that because I know, especially now after almost 2 years in, now you have new goals. So I'm wondering, like, when do you set up goals for yourself? How do you know, hey, I need to pivot, or I'm in a good place? Just, I wonder if you have any approach to that.
Yeah. So for me, there are definitely metrics I check, right? Just like all of us. And the beauty of YouTube is, in the studio, you've got access to literally pretty much any analytics you could possibly want, right? But uh For me, it's less about like followers, subscribers, and whatnot, and it's really about like, I want to see how many views is a video going to get. How long are they watching? What's my 30-second retention rate? All those sort of things, and I really try to hyper focus on those. And then every video, I try to say, okay, on this video, I'm really going to try and focus on improving my 30-second right. I want to have the best possible hook on this. And I'm going to try a slightly different thing of this, and I'm going to see what works and what doesn't. And really, it's just, it's like the seven, VRAs, like that, talking about test something, see what you can learn from it, and then go on to the next thing. But as far as the bigger goals, right, like whether it's monetization or where I want to be, like, I knew I wanted to get monetized within 6 months. I was fortunate that I had a breakout video and did that in 2 months. And, that was really exciting. And then there's all this positive momentum that comes when you get your breakout videos, but then you've got to add like more breakout videos, right? And it's like, and there's constantly, especially now with AI and all this, there's constantly more competition and trying to figure out like, how do I really hone in on like what's the most important, right? So it used to be when I was getting started, I can make videos of like just information, and 10 ways to save money on a cruise, stuff like that, and that was going to do really well. And like now there's so many AI channels that do that, right? So now I'm leaning into like, well, how do I create things that like AI can't necessarily do, right? What are my authentic experiences that I can share with people, and that will help people that can't just be ripped off by AI. And so I really have been focused heavily on that for a while. But for me, giving up isn't an option. Like I tell people, like I've got goals. I'm gonna hit the goals. It's probably not gonna get there the way that I thought in my head I was gonna get there, but I'm gonna get there because I'm stubbornly persistent, right? Like
Mhm.
I've got 2 young kids. I don't want to teach them that, failure is okay, right? There's nothing wrong with failure. I fail at things all the time, right? But there's a difference between failure and giving up, right? So in my other business, I'm a decade over that into that, and there's 100 times I was pretty much bankrupt multiple times along that journey. There was so many times I should have given up, but I knew what lied ahead, and I just kept pushing forward. And so that's the same on YouTube, right? It's like sometimes it's easy to get comfortable and like, oh, look at this. I've had 4 great videos in a row. And then it's like, nah, you shouldn't have gotten comfortable, right? Because now you just had like 8 bad videos in a row, right? Like, and I think I figured out my audience once, and no, you didn't, right? Like, it's, but that's part of what makes it fun, right? Part of what I love about this is like every time I think I've figured it out, I haven't. But because I have the bigger goals and I know where I'm going, temporary setbacks and things that don't go exactly as I planned, that's just part of getting to ultimately where I want to be. So, you've got to be constantly evaluating, what's in front of you, what can I learn from every video, what can I focus on? But like you guys talk about, my goal is just every video, I want to be 1% better. I want to try something new in every video that I haven't tried before, and I'll see what the data tells me. And if it goes well, I'll do it again. If it doesn't, well, maybe I'll pivot, but I'm always going to try new things.
I wonder a quick question, just
Sure.
when you went into this, when you actually started, what was your mentality? Was it, "I'm turning this into a business," or was this is a hobby that I'm gonna kind of explore to see if I can turn this into a business? What was your original, um, disposition, I guess, towards the channel?
I've always known, like, yeah, I've always known from the very beginning this was going to be a business, right? Like, this is 100% like, it was something different than my existing business, but like for me, I knew that this was a way to make a living, and there was no guarantees, right? Like there's no guarantee that any of us are ever going to make any money doing what we do. But that was part of what I loved about it, right? Was the challenge. And it does take time. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. But I think, again, the money isn't the goal. The money is a byproduct. But I knew that I could, if I worked really, really hard, I could do what I love and make a living doing it. And so that's been my goal from day one.
Awesome. We've got a couple questions here from the community, and these are kinda probably quick. Um,
Sure.
was this your first YouTube channel?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, somebody else had that question. Cool. So, amazing. We'll get into I see some other questions about income breakdown, AdSense, brand deals, all that sort of stuff. Here's kind of an interesting question. How many trips do you take per year? And I think that makes it's a good question because how does the amount of trips you take per year factor into the type of content you can make also?
Yeah. So last year, 2025, I did 22 cruises. I spent about 4 months out of the year on a cruise ship. Um,
Wow.
and there's travel getting to there and from there and whatnot as well. So like it's actually a little bit more than that. And I've got a wife and kids, and I try to bring out of the 22 cruises. I think my wife was with me on 14 of them. My kids were with me on 12 of them. But that means I was gone from home a lot, right? And I carry a lot of weight with that, right? And it would have to be a business because I couldn't justify being away from my wife and kids if this wasn't to somehow support our family. So, uh, it is, and it creates a lot of work because the sort of work that I do, that we all do, like, I can't really do this on a cruise ship. There's not good enough internet to upload, unfortunately, and whatnot. So I do what I can on the cruise ships. But so basically, right now I'm home for a stretch of 2 weeks, and I've got to pre-make 12 videos because I publish 3 videos a week. I got to pre-make 12 videos plus on top of this week's videos and next week's in 2 weeks, and that's exhausting. Because hopefully, with some of you guys, you can do it quicker than me. But it takes me 8-12 hours to write a script for a video. And so like you just do the math on that, like how is that possible? Like, well, you figure it out, right? But I don't really give myself much time to breathe. And on top of that, like I coach my kids' sports teams. Soccer season for my daughter starts Thursday, so I'll be coaching her soccer team and coach my son's football in the fall. And try to be, because ultimately I don't want to lose sight of what's really important, and that's being a husband and a father, right? So, but it's a lot to balance, and there's a lot of time away from home.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay. Awesome. Now let's go back. Okay, we're making progress through the beginning, a lot of the mental side of this, the direction for the channel, just who you are as a person, as a content creator, having vision for your channel. Great. That's all great. And then you start publishing, right? And then it's like
Yeah.
a lot of content creators, we start publishing and nothing happens. For you, things moved, and have moved at a pretty good pace. So I wonder, how long did it take you to reach 1,000 subs? Maybe tell me about the beginning stages, the first few drops, and how did that first drop do for you? Because actually, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. That was almost like a dangerous thing. But the very first video I ever published, it was a review of our time on the MSC Seascape. It's just a cruise ship. And, it's funny. I don't have it in front of me, but I would think that video was like 45 or 50 minutes long, something crazy like that. And now I would never make a video that long. Yeah, it's 40 some minutes, like, but I thought that's what people wanted, right? Like long videos are going to watch for longer. But I don't know how many views it's at now, but I had 5,000. So it's 11,000 now. I had 5,000 views in the first week. I was like, oh, cool. This is easy. Like, but it kind of set up false expectations because that wasn't the reality of what it's really like, right? But man, every single one of those videos tells a story, not just the video, but it tells a story of like, what did I learn from this, right? Like, and so if you go to like my most viewed videos at the very top, I'm pretty sure my number one most viewed video, that was like my breakout video right there, right? So I remember we were on our way to Alaska. I had published that video with a different title, because I was testing different things, and it flopped. And I was so bummed because that was my first like real talking head style video in a studio. It's not like a vlog sort of thing. And I was like, this is going to do really well. And then it didn't. It might not have been first. It was wrong first, but I thought it was going to do really well, and it didn't. And then like 3 or 4 days into it, I'm at the airport. This was July 2024. There was this Windows update that went out and crashed all the airlines' IT systems all across the world. And so it's chaos at Dulles Airport. And like, I'm trying to navigate all that. I look at my phone and I'm like, like it's starting to get some views. And then I'd look like 10 minutes later, I was like, it's getting even more views. And then it was like, I was hooked, right? I was like, looking at my phone. My wife's like, Evan, we're going through TSA. What are you doing? I was like, I know, but like, look at this. This is incredible. And that video pretty much took me from like 300 subscribers to like well over 1,000. And it was a slingshot. So I was about 2 months in at that point. And I remember like I applied for monetization on a cruise ship in Alaska. And there's just so many like these core sort of memories, but like you could hear, I remember exactly where I was, and that video took off. And the first time you guys have a video that really takes off like that, it is the coolest feeling in the world, because it's like, it's the realization of a lot of hard work, right? Like, it's realization of like, okay, maybe I do have something I can share with people that people are interested in. I go back at that video and I look, because people still watch it, and it's like, that video was awful. Like, I was just so many things I was doing that. Like, I remember I was trying to memorize, 15, 12, whatever long that video was, trying to memorize every single line. And it took me days to record it, because I was memorizing every single line and recording it. And I've learned since then, more efficient ways to do it. But it was, man, I've learned so many lessons since then. But, guys, all I can say is there's going to be a video, and I've had a lot of my videos, like my second most viewed video is, why is MSC so cheap? And that's just cruise line. I didn't think much of it. Like, I didn't think it was going to do very well at all. I just thought it was an interesting question. And because I'm a business guy, I like to understand what is it about the MSC that allows them to be cheaper. So that's that second one down there on the left, says, what's the catch? But like, what is it about that one? Or what is it about MSC that allows them to charge less than everybody else in the industry? And so I really made that video for personal curiosities. And again, I was on the MSC World America. I remember I woke up one morning, I looked, and it started taking off. And like, guys, when it happens, it's a lot of times, a lot of those videos, they're not the ones I thought would take off. Like, and then the further you go along, now you get an idea of, okay, here's videos that I think are probably going to do well. This one's probably not going to do super well on day one, but it's going to be evergreen. And over time, it's going to get me views. And it's just, I don't know. It's really awesome. But guys, just keep on trying, try different things, and you'll find like there's an audience for anything on YouTube, right? But you just got to find like, and some of these videos, it's like, okay, I'm going to try something new. And it's like, that's not what your audience wants, right? And it's like, I thought it was interesting, but my audience doesn't like it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. How do you deal with the, okay, you've got these amazing outlier videos, 200,000, 150,000, and then you're like in the regular day-to-day grind, right? Like the regular grind. And I think you're releasing what, 2 to 3 videos per week?
Yeah. So across the channels, I've got 3, but 2 on the main channel a week. And look, as an entrepreneur, you wear a lot of different hats, but sales was probably the biggest hat. And I knew when I was making cold calls or whatever, like every no meant I was one step closer to a yes, right? So when I have a video that's not an outlier, that's just one step closer to my next outlier, right? So it's all just a numbers game. And so you've got to get kind of very, not cold, but like you can't let a video that doesn't perform like you think it should get inside your head, right? Just like you can't let trolls that have nothing kind to say in the comments get inside your head, right? But like, I just look at it as like, okay, that didn't go the way I thought it would. What can I learn from this? And usually I can be like, you know what, I should have done that differently. Or like, and what thumbnails, right? Like thumbnails and titles are so important. It's like, okay, this type of thumbnail used to work well, but that doesn't really work well anymore. So like, how do I evolve? How do I evolve, faster than my competition, right? And sometimes I'm better at that than others. But even if a video flops, I'm still going to learn something from it. And so it's just a lesson, right? And some lessons, I learn more from the losses than I do the wins.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, cool. For everybody watching, we're getting towards the monetization. I got one more question before that, and then we'll get into the monetization side of it. But okay, people in here, they have access to obviously our courses and the VRA, the 7R framework and all that. Is there any specific framework that stood out the most to you or helped you, I guess, get to where you wanted to get to quicker?
I mean, guys, look, I remember going through the framework, at the very beginning, and just reading like about this 7R system, and like realizing like it kind of built like a scientific method out of creating content on YouTube. And it just unlocked something for me, right? Because it's this repeatable system, and it gets me away from guessing, just because before that I was kind of just throwing darts in the dark and hoping they hit the board, right? And it taught me, hey, here's this framework. It's worked for all these other creators. And if I'm disciplined and if I get out of my own way, it'll probably work for me. And it does, right? Like, because it teaches you exactly how to approach it. And it doesn't tell you like, hey, if you do this, your next video is going to get 1,000,000 views. No, it tells you, look, if you do this, you're going to learn something. And based on what you learn from that, you can then adapt that to your next and your next and your next. And look, it's just like, a snowball, right? Like it starts small, but over time, all those little tests grow into this really big thing. And then of course the algorithm changes, whatever. And it's like, I got to learn something totally different, but be disciplined, right? Like be disciplined, because that 7-hour system really transformed the way I think about my content creation and the direction that I go with things. And it when I first went through that, that was game changing for me. And so if you haven't gone through it, like force yourself to take the time, like, just listen to it, watch whatever, but like it's worth it, but it's only worth it if you actually not just learn from it, but you actually put it into use. But if you do, it's going to change a lot. It certainly has for me.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. And that's, you know, if you want to become like an expert in your field, in your space, if you want to have an unfair advantage over your competition and the people in your niche, because that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, there's so many people in my niche. It's this and that. All the more you need to get skilled, right? And that's what VRA does for you. It gives you the skills in order to stand out in that niche. So that is probably for a lot of you the missing key, is that like you're in your niche, you kind of understand it, but you don't really know how YouTube works, right? And like some of it is even like, for example, for you, Evan, we'll kind of get into this. You're kind of going non-traditional in terms of like how you're monetizing compared to some of the people in your niche, right? The
Yeah,
people in your niche monetize a certain way, and I'll let you kind of break that down. And you were like,
sure.
yeah, I don't want to do that, right? And so
Yeah,
you wouldn't even be able to know that unless you got in the game and started figuring out, making some money and figuring out, okay, I don't know if this is the exact path for me, and starting to evaluate. So without further ado, let's kind of jump into, can you break down for us the different ways that you're monetizing on this channel? And that's everything from just any way that money is coming in directly from the content you're making.
yeah. So, YouTube AdSense, we think that's where the money is, but I've realized that's probably not going to be my main source of income, right? It's great if I make money, but like really the money is on what those videos can do beyond YouTube for you, right? So, last year about 25% of my income came in through YouTube AdSense. I made another 8 or 10% from an MSN partnership, where basically the same exact videos I put on YouTube also get distributed on MSN's network, which is basically free money because I've already made the videos anyways. And then the rest comes through partnerships, right? And so that's luggage companies, that's travel partnerships, VPNs, all sorts of different things. But like partnerships are the future for me. And so you kind of alluded to it, but in my niche, the majority of people that do what I do, they make their living based on being travel agents. And so I've actually gone down a very long path trying to figure out, do I want to like go the path of like starting a travel agency and building a whole business kind of like I did with my sign company again, or do I want to be a content creator? And I spent so many hours trying to answer that question. And for me, I helped some people, some travel agency things, and I got some fulfillment out of it. But I realized pretty quickly, like, no, if I'm because being a travel agent takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And if I'm focused on that, then I don't have time to create content. So what brings me fulfillment? And for me, being a content creator is what brings me fulfillment, right? Because I feel like I can help more people, right? Because I'm able to, scale things. I can reach more people. And so what I did was I partnered with the travel agency as far as that goes. So I basically work with them, and leads that I generate go to them, and I get a much smaller percentage of what that commission would be if I did it myself, but they get handed off to them, and I can be on to the next video and, stuff of that nature. I'm actively seeking out, how do I find more sponsors who, I could get really deep into how I find sponsors, but, I'm actively seeking out who are the sponsors that have a product that I believe in, that I feel comfortable sharing with my audience. Because what I never want to do is share a product that like I know is not worthy, right? Like I don't want to share something that I don't believe in, that I don't personally use. So I try to find like, okay, what is somebody's product that I believe in, that I believe, I can share with my audience, and then how do I get to them, right? And sometimes it's been frustrating because it's like, okay, here's a product that I know and I love, and I can't get them to talk to me. They don't see the value in what we do here on YouTube. And that's just part of it. But partnerships for me, that's probably long term. That'll be 80, 85% of my income is partnerships. And I've talked with, I'm sure you guys talked to more, but I've talked to a lot of big creators, and it seems like that's fairly typical, that the YouTube AdSense portion of it is actually a small piece. So you need to build your channel enough to get monetized, but really that's not the end goal. That's just like the first step on the way to a bigger goal. And so my biggest goal this year, I got a few, but one of the biggest goals is to like basically branch out and have a sponsor for every single video. And that's what I'm actively working toward. I've got some that I've made some progress on that, but if I'm producing 2 videos a week on the main channel, that means I need 100 a month or 100 a year. And so trying to figure out, how do I work with some of these partners to show them, hey, I brought you value. So instead of sponsoring 1 or 2 videos, maybe sponsor 10 or 15, right? Because it'd be a lot easier to find 10 or 15 strategic partners than 100. Yeah, but partnerships are my main source of revenue.
That's amazing. Are you comfortable sharing numbers?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
And I say this because like, it's the reality of a content creator, right? With 30,000 subs doing what you're doing, I just think it's tangible, and I think what you're inspiring in people, and for me, is just like, this is doable, but you've gotta have some very clear goals in mind, because you have
sure,
like, you'll share your numbers now, which is great, but then you have even bigger numbers that you're going for 2026. But I really am loving this interview because you're a person that has the vision, but then also knows like, okay, it's going to take work to get to actually make it happen. So it's not just like, it's not like fluffy numbers, right? Like, these are real numbers, and you understand what it's going to take to get to them. And that's why I think the actual specifics are really helpful for people, because it does take work. You know what I mean? Like, this takes work, it takes dedication, and it takes having a plan, which I think is what you have. So that's why I'm really excited about like the specifics.
sure. So yeah, it's funny just 'cause I look at bigger creators and I'm like, these aren't that impressive. But if I was just getting started, I'm like, oh wait, I can do that in like less than 2 years. Like, so last year, 2025, I did 33,000 in YouTube AdSense revenue. So just under $3,000 a month. I made another 10,000 on MSN. And then my partnership revenue was right around $80,000. So in total is a little bit over 120K for the year. So a little bit over 10K a month across, all those different channels. And this year, my goal is 300K. And like, I mean, look, I've talked, guys. I'm just a regular guy, but look, I've talked to so many creators that are literally making millions doing this in like 2, 3 years. They get there, and it's like, what? Like, is that even realistic? And so I've just set goals like, here's where I want to get. But I've realized like, if I'm very strategic and if I work really hard and I'm focused, these can actually be realistic, right? So what I tell you is like, you can make a living doing this, but you can make the life that you really, really want doing this as well. But it's going to take a lot of hard work, and I'm still putting in that work. But I'm going to get there because, like I said earlier, I'm stubbornly persistent. And for me, it's not about the money. Like I try to help everybody that I can. So like I'm not a greedy sort of person, but the financials are, it's a metric to look at and be like, okay, I'm on the right path, right? So even though I'm not like I don't care about being flashy and stuff like that. It is it's a metric that shows I'm on the right path. I'll just say that.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Um, okay. So how do you balance time, right? Like, so let's kind of start to break down how much time goes to this channel versus to your business editing. Do you have to manage a team of like thumbnail editors? Like, how involved are you in it? So whole breakdown, video
Okay.
idea, scripting, post production, posting, and then like, how are you managing all of these different things?
Yeah, valid question. So script writing is for me, that's where the majority of my time goes. In a typical week, if I wasn't loading up on travel, it would just look like I'm basically script writing for 2 or 3 days. I've learned to block my time because at first I was like, I'm doing a little script writing, and now I'm bored of that. I'm gonna work on a thumbnail, do all these things, but like that was not efficient at all. So Uh, Now, I've got basically 2 dedicated days, Thursdays and Fridays, where all I'm gonna do is script writing, and I'm gonna script write, you know, an hour or 2 at a time, 3 hours, whatever, when I have pockets during the rest of the week. But Thursdays and Fridays, that is my like head down focus, like just knock out the scripts. Uh, Thumbnails, I've gotten better at those, but what I've found a lot of times, especially early on, I was spending as much time on my thumbnails and my titles as I was on the actual videos and scripts and all that, right? Like the easiest part of all of this, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, is recording, right? Like, because once I've got the script written and all that, like I can record the video in 30 minutes, right? Like, because that part's easy, but it's everything else that takes the time. But so Thursdays and Fridays, literally all I do is script writing. Uh, Mondays through Wednesdays, kind of depends on what I have going on, but at least one of those days is going to go to getting my thumbnails and my titles and everything ready to be published for the week ahead. If I'm going on a trip, I try to get at least a certain amount of that done. I'll say people think like, oh, it must be nice. You just go on cruises all the time. Like, y'all, my wife likes to joke that a cruise ship for me is just an office with ocean views. I certainly find time to enjoy it. Like, but usually I just try to treat it as like, 8 to 5, I'm going to work and then I'll have dinner and go to a show in the evening and enjoy the ship. But you've got to be really focused. If you are not disciplined with your schedule, it's going to be chaos because you're going to do a little here, a little there, but you're really never going to get to where you want to be. So I've learned from me, block my time, set aside specific blocks of time that I'm going to focus on this specific task, and that's what works for me.
Amazing, amazing. So we have a question here, and it was very similar
Sure.
to kind of actually, we had a lot of questions. So let's actually just let's take a little break and let's answer some questions.
Cool.
Um, Here's one from Carrie. Why 3 videos? Like, how did you land on 3 versus 2 versus 4? Is it just schedule, cadence? Like, what's going on there?
Uh, well, at first I was doing one video a week, and then I was just like, okay, well, like, what would happen if I did 2 videos a week? And look, the way I look at it, the more videos I publish, like I was talking about earlier, every no is one step closer to a yes. So if I do 3 videos a week, that helps me get to my goals 3 times faster, right? Because at the end of one year, I'll make 150 videos instead of 50 videos. And if I'm learning every single video, if I'm learning, 1 or 2 things, it grows exponentially faster. So for me, it's just more swings of the bat, more opportunities to learn more. So I can tell you, I know creators that have done 1 video a week for long periods of time, and they're extremely successful with that. Um, but for me, I wanted to grow fast, and every now and then, like I'll have a week where it's like I didn't get that extra video done, or whatever. I've usually got videos done. It's like I didn't get published, but 90% of the time I'm going to hit that cadence.
I love that answer in so many different ways, just because, I'm a coach, and so I'm working with people and they're like, "Oh, this video didn't do well," right? Like, and it becomes such a thing. And I feel for them too, right? Like, it's hard. The video didn't do well, like, I get it. But this attitude of like, this was just another up at bat, right? Like, this was maybe it was a single, like maybe it was a single. Cool. We're still on the board, right? Like, we're getting
Yeah.
up there. And then as they also the thing is, like, even the ones that didn't do amazingly well, they're also compounding though, right? Like, those are still getting views, potentially the right views, dialed in viewers with good call to actions in the video. Maybe they saw this video, but then eventually they see another video as well. So, like, ultimately it all still works for your good, which is what I love. And so instead of looking at it at on the like individual video level and that this video failed, it's just like it's just part of the process. Like, it just is what it is. It's part of the process. Sometimes we don't fully understand, like you said. We're like, wait, everything feels good about this. Like, it's a great topic, great thumbnail, great title, but it does give you an opportunity to be just really raw and honest and, like, really dig deep to figure out, like, was it the hook? Was it, like, was it just a lack of clarity on the thumbnail title? What is it? So even that, though, just makes you a better content creator. So I just love the attitude of, I mean, it is what it is, and I'm gonna learn from it, right? Like, it's not my downfall. It's not a signal that things aren't going well. Like, some people think like that. They're like, it's kinda over, right? You have the mentality of, it's just on to the next one, which I think is
Sure.
great. Okay, cool. Um, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna ask it. Do you ever talk about cruising on a sailboat in addition to cruise ships?
No, anytime I do anything that it like, even if it's the wrong type of cruise ship, my audience is like, we don't care about this, right? So like, uh, we do like one, maybe two cruises a year that are like personal, like where it's like I'm gonna create content, but like this, I'm doing this one for pleasure, but it's all it's just business, right? So no, if I produced a video on a sailboat, it would flop because that's not what my audience wants. So even if I enjoyed it, it's not what they want, and that's what matters.
Cool. Do you like, are your trips comped? Do you accept money from the cruise company? Like, how does that work?
So I've gone on what they call hosted cruises where like I haven't paid, but I've never taken money from cruise lines. And so now there's people in my niche like this is public such, but they're you can they'll give you a lot of money to like make these videos, but when you do that, you lose your autonomy. They basically tell you, here's what you're going to say. And to me, I think the big picture is that like if I can keep my authentic voice, that's more valuable long term than it is to like get a one-time payday from this cruise company. So I do go on hosted cruises, and that's one of my goals. Like, because me, if I can save money, that's kind of like making money too, right? Because like cruise travel does cost money. So, uh, but I always tell them like, look, I'll do this, but you don't get to tell me what I'm allowed to say. And if that's a problem, I understand, no problem at all. But so no, I don't see. I think part for me, uh, taking that money would dilute my message, and I don't plan to.
Interesting. That's great. That's awesome. So there is a question that I had that's like I was saying, similar to some questions I'm seeing here, but can you tell me about just life before VRA versus life after VRA? How did VRA really help you?
Yeah, so guys, look, being a content creator, I'm sure all of you watching this, you probably know, but it's like we're on an island, right? It's like we're doing this thing and nobody else around us gets us, right? Maybe we've got a supportive spouse, like my wife is amazing, and she's really been a blessing to me and she's always believed in me, but like even she doesn't understand what we go through, right? Like when we talk about like script writing and all these things, like people just think like, oh, I just go on a cruise ship and then I click a couple buttons and now there's a video. They don't realize that like, no, every single one of those videos takes 8, 12, 16 hours. Like, uh, and the only people that really get that are the other people that do what we do. So when I found VRA, the sense of community that it brought me, like that it felt so freeing. It's like, oh my gosh, here's this group of people and they get it, right? They've been like this person, I have that question, right? Like, we're all going through the same things. And it's rare that there's something that, whether it's doesn't matter if it's cruising, it's like we've all been through the same trials and tribulations and we can help each other. We understand each other. And so when I found this group, it just, I don't know, it was game changing for me because I realized there's a whole community of people out there that have walked a mile in my shoes, and I can learn from them and I can give back too, right? I can help them, right? And that's the beauty of this community because so many business masterminds, things of that nature, they can be very look how hard I hustle and like, that sort of alpha bro stuff. And it's like that's not who I am, right? Like, but VRA is not like that. VRA is like, hey, we're all good people that have goals, that are working hard toward our goals, that we just want to make a difference and we want to help each other. And I love that we're all so willing to help each other. And the community here is just, I don't know, it's second to none. I invest a lot of myself. The honestly, whether it's on YouTube or other company, like the money I invest in myself is the best money I've ever spent doing anything. And to find the community we have here, VRA was, I don't know, that to me is worth the price of gold. Like you guys that are watching, like the fact that you're literally, I'm on the East Coast, so it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The fact that you're watching this says how much you care, how focused you are, how much you want to make this work. And guys, you can, and we can help each other get there. You know, uh, Zig Ziglar, said the thing about like, you can get anything you want in this world if you're willing to help other people get what they want. And I think that's what we've got here at VRA, right? We can all help each other get to where we want to go.
Tremendous, tremendous. Yeah, that's a great point. We've got about 150 content creators that are just as crazy as the next content creator. Like this is the
Yeah.
place and crazy, but with now inside of VRA having a clear blueprint, a game plan to help you really execute on this. And if anything, like for me, the thing that I'm like really hoping people take away is just the passion mixed with the plan. And that's our dream here at Think Media as well. It's Sean's dream as well, which is like, all right, how do you take your passions and turn it into a profitable business? We really think it's possible with YouTube. Like YouTube and social media is such a weird thing where you can actually monetize your passions. It's just such a strange thing, but you need you need the blueprint and you have it. And that's what I love these calls because this is real. It's real VRA students that are here that are doing it. Um, okay, cool. So I would ask if you were starting over, is there anything you'd do differently? You've been in VRA, you've been at it for almost 2 years. If you could go back and be like, all right, I'm gonna launch with which is interesting because your first videos are like actually at 11,000 subs, so it's not typical for a lot of people. But given the success that you have had, would you do anything differently?
Yeah, guys, I think the quicker you can get to realizing that, like, yes, this is about our passion, but the content we're creating, we're not making that for ourselves. We're making that to hopefully build an audience that will get to know us and trust us and maybe even make some friends along the way. But the sooner we can get to that point, you know, and that what I'm doing isn't about me, it's about who I can help, you know, the better it's going to go. And so when I had that first video, like very first one that like broke out, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's going to be easy, right? Like people want to hear me. It's like, they don't want to hear me. That's not what this is. People want content that can help them, whatever it is, whether it's cruising or gardening or whatever it is. But like, it's not about me. And so I would have gotten out of my way a whole lot sooner, a whole lot quicker. Um, and really bought into a program like a VRA, realizing like, look, you guys have built a framework for something that can help me. And the only thing that's going to stop me is myself, right? If I'm so prideful, if I've got so much ego that I think I know better than a group like VRA that's literally helped thousands of creators, and you've been down, literally, there's nothing I can come across that you guys haven't already walked through, like, then I don't know. So I would have gotten out of my own way a whole lot faster. Uh, yeah, that's the biggest thing I think I would have done differently.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that's basically I just love it. That's what you guys have here, like, inside of this community. Obviously, we're here inside of VRA. This is our private community. If anything, the point of this call is really to light a fire under you and to get you to go into your VRA course. It's to get you to go press record, to get on to the next video. It's to inspire you and let you and remind you that you can actually do this, right? So, if anything, the message is after this video, go figure out what your next video is. Go record it. If you got one sitting there that you're afraid to release, release it. Your first videos will be your worst videos, and that's just the reality. Um, but we got to get them out of your system. Get these, and no matter what, all of us, we look back at videos from a year or 2 year ago, and we're like, we could have done that better. And we were already experts at that point, right? Masterminds. We look back and we're asking, what can we do on this mastermind to make it better? So it's just a constant, there will always be something to improve. And I think the sooner you can live with that, the easier it makes it to be able to just get into the game. Like get in the game. Nobody was, you don't wake up being Jordan or being Kobe, right? Like it's gonna take
That's
time
right.
for you to get there. So, Evan, I wonder if you just have any final word for the VRA community. You have been getting massive love. I was not able to get to all the questions. I would actually say this is probably one of the VRA shows with the most questions that came in from the community. It was a lot of similar questions, so we answered them, or I found a way to kind of get you to answer them while we were going through. But there were a ton of questions, so you've got a lot of people, really thinking about themselves and their channel. I wonder if you just have any final words of guidance for your fellow VRA students here.
Yeah, guys, look, kind of just building on what I was just saying, but like, get rid of the ego, get rid of whatever, you are your own limiting factor in all this, right? Like there's always going to be AI and the algorithm and all these things, right? That's just a fact of what we do. But like stop overthinking things, stop making excuses. Perfection is the enemy of good, and you're never going to get anywhere if you're overthinking everything. So just hit record, do the work, see what you can learn from that video, and move on to the next one. And the other, small thing is made a big difference for me is create, at least for me, what's worked for me is create your titles and thumbnails first, right? Because a lot of times I record this whole thing and like I get to the title stage, thumbnail. It's like, man, if I would have like just recorded my video, my hook a little bit differently, this would have probably worked better. But now I'm locked in because I already made the video. So I probably should have answered that before, but I would probably start by come up with your titles and thumbnails first. At least that's what works for me.
Yeah, by the way, that's part that's part of what we teach, right? Like,
Yeah.
and if any of you are already creating content and you're what's funny is like it's not funny, but I bet if you were to go look at your content and then you were to go through VRA, you'd probably realize, you know what, I'm not really doing what they're teaching. And one of the things that we teach in the perfect video recipe, which is in the master section. So if anybody that's creating content, please go over to the master section of VRA. And you'll see that what we teach there is actually coming up with the idea first, right? Like, what is this idea even worth having or worth making? If it is, great. Let's make title and thumbnail first. At the very least, a concept of what the thumbnail and title will be. Why? Because then you're going to structure the content to match the thumbnail and title. And if there's a disconnect between thumbnail, title, and they click on your video and they're like, wait, that's not exactly why I clicked on this video, that's where the confusion comes in. So we're coming full circle, starting at we both should have done this, started at the beginning with this, but yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I kind of want to show you this, Evan, really quick, because you're getting just lots of love in the comment section here. And so I just wanted to put this up on screen. People are really pumped about you. There was a really cool one here. You have such a great energy. Loved all the information. Someone's cruising and will be watching your videos. Someone
Nice.
else already said that they do watch your videos.
Awesome.
This one was a really cool one. I love the fact that he's mature, a successful biz owner. You don't need to be 20 something and hip, right?
Yeah.
So really, really
True.
pumped. Yeah, you don't have to be 20 something and hip. Yeah, amazing. I'm just looking through the comments now. I'll get lost here. But Evan, it was a pleasure, man. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank you
y'all.
so much. Like that's the vibe I get. It's like a very serious, you're fun for sure. You're upbeat, but you have a wealth of wisdom and you have something about your personality that's just different. And I really appreciate that. I'm taking a lot from this call as well for myself. And we're just really, really thankful, man, to have you in the community. And thank you for pouring yourself out today to the VRA community that you've been a part of for a while now. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And thanks all you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. Find me in the Facebook group. I'm always happy to chat and help you guys as best I can.
That was my bad. Sorry, got trigger happy.
You're good. I was just saying thanks. Appreciate y'all.
All right, sorry for that. Okay. All right, cool. Awesome. Show some love to Evan in the comments here in the chat. We do forward these over to our VRA students to just show them the love from fellow VRA students. And so awesome, man. Thank you so much to everybody checking in. I will quickly remind you that we have early bird tickets available for the next Think Media Mastermind. That's going to be happening March 7th and 8th. If you missed the one that we had last week, I mean, you really did miss out. It was awesome. It was really, really great. We go really deep. We spend a lot of time with content creators, not just speaking from stage, but like we're doing a lot of one-on-ones with people. We're in group coaching sessions. There's a lot of growth that happens at these events. We would love to see you at the next one. Again, the next one is happening literally in 2 months, May 7th and May 8th. Vegas. Head over to thinkmediamastermind.com, get your early bird ticket, and we hope to see you there. And we'll see you on the next episode of the VRA show, the next Q&A, the next Think Tip, the next VRA member meetup. We appreciate you guys so much. See you soon.